We have just bought a jacuzzi model J365 hot tub. It was working before we moved it to our house. We filled it as instructed, but it will not run. The display panel shows 4 dashes, watchdog, but no code to reveal the problem detected. Help.
Hello, how can I help you today? The 4 dashes is just called the watchdog error and is basically a general fault error that comes up for a multitude of different problems. The most probable cause of yours would be that your heater circulation pump has an airlock in it and is not pumping any water through the heater to activate the flow switch down below. If you open up the cabinet down below, I could guide you to where we need to check for flow to see if that's what's going on. The flow switch will look something like this full-size image.
Cabinet is open. What next? Am I supposed to rate first before answering again?
No, don't worry about rating until we're done. Do you see the flow switch that looks like the picture I sent?
Yes.
Once you locate the flow switch, there is an arm inside the clear T. The arm will normally sit at a 45-degree angle when the spa is off. When it's on and the pump is moving water, that arm should move over to the center position to indicate flow through the switch and heater.
There is no water in flow switch.
Okay, can you follow the line backwards from that switch to the small pump that runs the heater? Feel it and see if it's warm or vibrating. We're just checking out, make sure it's getting power to it.
Nothing, it is cold.
Okay, well, then that's a big part of the problem. No flow, no heat. At this point I'd need to ask if you have a meter, as we're going to need to start at the beginning of the electric circuit to make sure all of our voltages are correct coming into the spa.
The voltage is correct.
So we're positive we've got 240 volts when testing across both hot wires coming in.
Tub was moved today. My thought is maybe ice blockage as it is cold here.
If you can remove the front cover of the control box and snap me a picture, I can walk you through a few other tests, but I'll need to see the board set up. While that is possible, if it were blockage, the pump would be hot from trying to run even if it wasn't pumping any water.
I can try.
Okay, you should be able to attach it to the chat with the paperclip icon above your chat window.
Full-size image. Best I can do.
Okay, I can see most of it. The watchdog error will usually come up due to either the flow switch or one of the 2 sensors not registering on the board. Let's start with the temp and high limit sensors. They will be those small gray wires all bundled up in the upper left-hand side of the picture. You may have to cut the tie wires holding them all together, but we need to be able to trace them as they come into the box and follow them all to make sure each one has a secure connection to the circuit board and that the wiring is not cut or damaged anywhere.
Okay, we'll check. Everything seems to be in order.
I can't totally see beneath the wires over towards the right side, but we're looking for a large time delay fuse that may have a green or orange label on it. I need you to look around for one or more of those and then also remove the 2 white ceramic fuses on the right-hand side of the board. Then, with the meter set on continuity or ohms, we need to check each fuse to make sure they all have continuity through them. If they all check out good, reinstall them back where they came from.
Will do. Fuse is all good.
Okay, running out of tests to do here. When you power the spa down at the breaker and then restart it, does anything at all come on before it goes into watchdog mode?
No, but now I don't have the watchdog, but the panel is all funny looking. Would cold have anything to with it?
It could, but normally if it's just the cold water you might get a nice reading if the water is below 40 degree, but that's normal. If it's any kind of error code, it should be readable and the cold temperature shouldn't affect anything other than those two issues. I can tell you how to test the high limit and temp sensor as well if you'd like to check them out, but you have to have really sharp tips on your meter leads as the contacts are very tiny and difficult to get to sometimes. The most common thing by far to trigger the watchdog mode is a bad temp sensor, so it's always worth checking it out. http://www.justanswer.com/view_image.asps href equals http://uploads/thehotubguy/2012-0516_1807499_sundance_sensor_testing.png. This will show you pretty much how to test out the temp and high limit sensors after you unplug them from the board, the gray wires that we mentioned before. To test them you'll also need to know the actual water temperature of the spa water so you can compare the resistance readings of the sensors to the water temperature resistance on the chart. In reality, if both sensors are good, then they should both test at pretty close to the exact same resistance. Your harness may not look exactly like the one shown, but the testing is the same and it will be the gray wires coming into the control pack. They will also be labeled as sensors on the board itself. I'm about to head to bed for the evening, but basically if you test the sensors and still don't find anything, then you're down to either the board or the topside controller. So the next step will be to turn the power off, unplug the topside controller from the board, then turn the power back on with the topside unplugged and see if anything starts up on its own. If that still doesn't yield anything, you're down to the circuit board itself, unfortunately. If you get some of this checked, let me know in the morning and I'll be happy to help with anything else we need to look at. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. You have been a great help. Dan.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit JustAnswer.com/YTHI.